Good afternoon from Botswana. My name is Unity Dow. Mr. Speaker, fellow women members of the Parliamentary Caucus on Women, fellow members of Parliament, women of and in this country, men who I acknowledge as fellow human beings. Good afternoon. Today is the 8th of March, a day on which the world celebrates, commemorates, and acknowledges the contribution and participation of women in family, community, national, and global building. Today is also the day for shining a spotlight on the factors that limit that contribution and participation. Many who care about these issues are fatigued, they are despondent, and they are simply sick and tired. I too am sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of making nicely crafted speeches that are met with polite, supportive comments from my fellow members of Parliament. I'm sick and tired of being told that I'm not doing enough by people who are simply doing nothing. I'm sick and tired of being polite when I'm actually seething with rage. I'm sick and tired of fighting for my rightful space on this earth. But then if we give up, what kind of world will our grandchildren inherit? It is on this day, a day like the International Women's Day, that we can hope to re-energize, to reorganize, to raise our exhausted voices, and once again demand that which we should not be demanding at all: our rights as human beings to a full benefit of our human rights. Why are women still not safe in their homes, I ask? Why are women not safe anywhere? To quote a justifiably angry woman, the floor is too bloody for speeches. Why do women bear an unfair burden of child rearing and nurturing? Why are women targets of sexist jokes, of jabs, and cruel depictions in our WhatsApp groups and social media platforms? Why are we cheap entertainment, I ask? Why does that, what I think, less important than how I'm dressed? Why is maleness a positive attribute when we choose leadership? Why are there so few women in political leadership? The answer, I dare say, is that the culture of any organization, whether it be family, any community, is determined by its leadership. And the leadership of this country is male, period. The only way we are going to change the culture of how women are viewed, to make homes and streets safer for women, to give true value to the hard work that is literally carrying humans in our wombs, preparing them for life on earth, and then raising them for 18 years, to replace maleness with marriage, illegitimate leadership, to attain autonomy and self-belief for women, is to have women in leadership. We have a catch-22, but a window has opened. A window has opened. The constitutional review process gives this nation a chance to reorganize this republic, to strengthen our democracy by entirely reforming our electoral system. Let us not squander this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Let us not squander this opportunity. Botswana is one of the least performing countries in SADC when it comes to women's participation in leadership, that is political leadership. Why is that? Why is that, I ask? One of the reasons that has to be our self-congratulatory attitude that we are the shining beacon of democracy in Africa. But are we? Are we? What democracy allows for the wanton rape, the murder, the abuse, unfair burdening, and constant ridiculing of half this population? And in any case, no community ever arrives at democracy and sits down and to enjoy it. Democracy must be renegotiated each and every day. Values must be lived, communicated, debated, taught, challenged as every new child is born to join the group. Democracy is a way of living, not a destination. When women asserted in Vienna in 1992 that women's rights are human rights, this obviously true statement was viewed as pretty revolutionary. This was just one of the many times that an opportunity was seized to renegotiate and reassert the values that will move us to a fairer, more equitable, and more just world. Today, the constitutional review process gives us a negotiation platform. Let's use it to ask ourselves a few hard questions. Does the current system work for women? Does the current electoral system work for women? I believe the answer to that question has been answered repeatedly by various experts and observers, and it is that it simply does not. The most obvious area requiring reform is therefore the system of first past the post. We know that the system favors incumbents and those already in the system's leadership structures. Both sets are predominantly male. These are examples. There are examples in the region, in Africa, and in the world at large of systems that are better suited for delivering a more representative political leadership. Unless and until we reform this system, we will continue to hear we are looking for capable women. If we accept that half of the population of Botswana is female, and that for many years half the children in our classrooms have been female, we can assume that there are as many capable women as there are men. And let us pause to congratulate the women on that half the children in classroom status. It is primarily women in this country who provide nurturing, counseling, and homeschooling of children. If you are not persuaded, please look around and attend the next PTA meeting in your neighborhood. We know Botswana women are capable of leading because whenever merit alone and not gender is used as a criteria for selection, they compete on equal basis with men. This they do even as they're raising children, sometimes without male support. We know that the current electoral system has repeatedly failed to deliver these capable women to political leadership. Yet another important issue is political party funding. I know this is a very, very emotive and often hotly debated issue. Elections are a national project, and wins should not depend on who has the most money. We also know that incumbents fare better than first-timers. Incumbents have systems and structures in place to support their campaigns. It is simply high time that Botswana puts in place a political party funding system to ensure that the best, and not just the best resourced or the best connected candidates win. It is not only just and fair, it is what democracy demands. Political party funding is not important just because it is an equalizer. It is also important because it limits the threat of outside purchase of the country by third parties. In any event, women are less likely to have the connections to the big money that men who have been in the system do have. They've been at the helm of political parties, and therefore they have connections that date years. Reforms will also indirectly address the often thrown spear that women do not support other women. We will know that we have attained true democracy when no one will have to support any gender, but will vote for values, for principles, for equity, for equality, the rule of law, good health, better education, better infrastructure, etc. We are a long way from there. And it is for that reason that we need to put in place temporary special measures to ensure a leadership that inspires young girls and boys across the country to aspire to. When people lament that women do not support other women, they often forget two very important aspects. Because the culture that pertains is male, because leadership is by males, because it passes in the hands of men, what happens is that not infrequently women who may be quite capable but lack the autonomy and self-belief to stand for positions become targets for being put forward as proxies by men in leadership. Such women may be very capable, but she may be resented as not having been elected to that position by women themselves. This is particularly the case if the position involved competition amongst females exclusively. The other aspect is that women proxies and self-believers alike may find that once they are at the top, they have little room to support other women. The culture may prove so restrictive that what they do and what they say does not represent their true values and beliefs. Survival may dictate that one conforms to the cultural norms in place. Democracy must be anchored on policies, on regulations, on laws, on structures and institutions, and not on good men or even just good women. No one, myself included, wants to lose power. It should not be a personal choice whether or not one should relinquish power. The system must speak, not a few good men. Men as a group must lose some of their power, as a group, period. We cannot ask individual men nicely or otherwise not to stand for positions. It would be unfair, it would be unreasonable, it would actually even be unconstitutional. We should not have to beg a man to be kind and to step aside. We should demand a system that gives the man and the woman equal opportunities. So at the end of the day, it should be the system that speaks, not individual people. We need to be bold and brave and to demand of all our members of parliament, men and women, to initiate and or support, as a matter of urgency, legislative reforms that will deliver the kind of democracy that includes women as true and equal participants in this republic. We need a kind of constitutional reform that limits the powers of the currently powerful and gives the republic to the people. We must reject any reforms that further solidifies power in any one office or institution, and demand a constitution that opens up spaces for greater participation of all, including women. As I conclude, I can almost hear the chorus from those who believe that debating issues honestly and demanding reforms is an attack on my own party. To those people I say, my party's constitution espouses justice for all. It espouses equity and equality. It espouses unity. Mr. Speaker, I'm a firm believer in honest debate, and I take my right to think a right enshrined in the Constitution of Botswana very seriously. It is in the exercise of that right that I speak here today. If I speak that which I do not believe in, I would be expressing my right to freedom of expression while suppressing my right to think. The two are linked. Let me now address the 83% out there who we are told are not aligned to any political party. Dear 83%, we politicians speak to a collective 17% in our respective parties, in our respective party structures. Our 17% will hold primaries or in some way select the candidates that you will meet in October 2024. Your chance to participate in the reforming the electoral system so that the slate of candidates the 17% will present to you in 2024 has a chance of delivering a more inclusive republic is now. It is now that we must act if you want to participate fully in the elections of 2024. To the woman who tersely retorted, with due respect, the floor is too bloody for speeches, referencing the trail of murders and rapes that have been a feature of our daily lives recently, all I can say is that action often starts with conversations. To those always waiting for someone to do something and quick to blame others for inaction, all I can say is that God is not coming down to fix from the heavens to fix this one. You have to fix it. To my fellow members of Parliament, especially the members of the Parliamentary Caucus of Women, I say we have a huge responsibility. It is not an easy task, but it's not an impossible task. The current Domestic Violence Act was brought by a female member of Parliament as a private member's bill, Gladys K.T. Kokor. Mr. Speaker, I cannot conclude the speech without saluting the one of the few women who is in leadership in an institution that represents male culture in a way no other institution does, Bohosi or chieftainship. Kosi Mosadi Sebuku, who has led her tribe with determination, with fortitude, with focus, with autonomy, and a single-mindedness of a true buffalo, which is her totem, must be specially recognized today. I salute Kosi Mosadi Sebuku not just because she won in the highest court in the land, but because she dared to lead under very difficult circumstances. Winning is just the icing of the cake. It is his boldness and bravery with which she led, that she leads, that I salute today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May white hot things happen to all and for this republic. I thank you.